I'm 84 years old, and for 41 of them, I sat at the bedsides of dying folks. Hospice nurse, they called me, though half the time I felt more like a witness. Now I'm going to tell you something that ain't in any of them sleep pamphlets the doctor hands you. It ain't your mattress robbing you of your years, and it ain't your phone, though Lord knows that don't help none. There's one thing, that I watched steal more years off more people than smoking, than sugar, than every bad habit you can name put together. And it took me 4 decades of holding dying hands to understand it. So set that phone down a minute, sugar, and ask yourself this. What are you carrying to bed with you tonight? When I was a young woman, I thought sleep was something you earned, like a paycheck. You worked your day, you wore yourself plumb out, and then you collapsed into bed, and the good Lord rewarded you with rest. That's what my mama taught me, and her mama before her. So that's how I lived. Up at 5, in bed by 10, hard work in between. I figured if I just kept my hands busy and my house clean, sleep would take care of itself. It didn't. I'd lay there staring at the ceiling fan going round and round, and my mind would start its own little night shift, replaying the argument I had with my sister, fretting over a bill, stewing on something my husband said at supper that I let slide out loud but never let go of inside. I didn't think nothing of it. Everybody's tired, I figured. Everybody lays awake some. That's just being a grown woman with responsibilities. Then I started nursing, and let me tell you, I heard every piece of advice in the book. Doctors will tell you cut your caffeine after noon, drink your chamomile, keep your room cold as an icebox, count your sheep. I did all of it, baby, every bit. Cold room, no coffee past breakfast, chamomile tea so strong it tasted like dirt. And I still laid there some nights with my jaw clenched so tight I'd wake up with a headache. Here's the thing, the doctors weren't wrong exactly. They just weren't looking where the real trouble was hiding. They were treating the body and ignoring what a person was hauling around in their chest. I had a patient once, sweet old man, name don't matter. 80-some years old, sharp as a tack, ate clean his whole life, never touched a cigarette. Heart gave out on him anyway, sudden, in his sleep. His daughter asked me, crying, "How does a man who did everything right just go like that?" I didn't have an answer for her then. Took me years to get one. But I started noticing a pattern the longer I worked. You'd think after 41 years of being around death, I'd remember the medicines, the machines, the charts. I don't, not really. What I remember is the jaws. I'd walk into a room at 2 in the morning to check vitals, and I could tell you, just by looking at a sleeping face, who was at peace and who wasn't. The ones carrying something clenched their jaw tight even in their sleep, like they were still arguing with somebody who wasn't even in the room. Fists balled up under the blanket, eyebrows pulled together like a worry line got carved in stone. The peaceful ones, and Lord, there weren't many. Their whole face would go soft, mouth a little open, hands loose on the sheet like a child's. I started asking, real gentle-like, when families would let me, "Is there anything weighing on him?" Half the time, the answer come out slow, almost surprised, like the family never thought to ask. Well, there is one thing. There was always one thing, sugar, always. Now here's where it gets personal, sugar, because I didn't learn this from a textbook. I learned it from my own chest. I was 61 years old, working a double shift, came home, fixed supper, washed up, and went to bed same as I'd done 10,000 nights before. Except that night, laying there in the dark, I felt my heart start doing something it ain't supposed to do. Fluttering, racing, like a bird caught in a jar. I sat straight up in that bed, hand on my chest, scared out of my mind. My husband drove me to the hospital in his pajamas, doing 60 in a 35 zone. And I remember thinking, clear as day, I am not ready to go. Turned out it wasn't my heart muscle failing. The doctor, young fella, barely 30, ran every test there was, came back, sat on the edge of my bed, and said something I never forgot. He said, "Mrs. Euler, your heart is fine, but whatever you've been carrying around in it, it's exhausted." I laughed at him. I said, "Son, I don't carry nothing. I'm an old woman. I done raised my kids. I keep my house. What exactly do you think I'm carrying?" He just looked at me real patient-like and said, "That's exactly what I mean." That sat with me for weeks. What was I carrying? I started watching myself close. And what I found surprised me. It wasn't the bills. It wasn't even losing my mother, rest her soul, though that grief sat heavy plenty nights. What was robbing me of my rest, what had been robbing me for 61 years, was every little thing I never let go of before I closed my eyes. Every sharp word I swallowed instead of saying. Every grudge I tucked away for later and never once unpacked. Every night I went to bed mad at my husband over something small and told myself I'd deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow never came, sugar. Not really. The body don't know the difference between an argument from this morning and one from 19 years ago if you never put it down. It just keeps holding it. All of it. Every single night. Let me tell you about two men I nursed, round the same years, similar age, similar diagnosis. I think on 'em both to this day. First one I'll just call Mr. Frank. Tough old farmer, worked his land 60-some years, never apologised to nobody in his whole life, far as I could tell. His own son hadn't spoke to him in 11 years over some land dispute, and Mr. Frank, stubborn as a Missouri mule, never reached out. Not once. Not even at the end. I sat with him many a night, and I tell you, that man did not rest easy. Tossed and turned something fierce, even sedated. Called out names in his sleep. Passed at 78. And the whole last month of his life, he never once settled. Now the other fella, I'll call him Mr. Otis. Diagnosed with a similar kind of trouble, similar stage, similar age. But Otis, he made a habit, every single night, didn't matter how tired he was, how much pain he was in, he'd call up his daughter, or write a letter if he couldn't talk, and he'd settle whatever was unsettled. He told me once, "Euler, I don't go to sleep owing nobody an apology I'm capable of giving." Otis lived 11 months past what they told him he had. 11 months, sugar. And every nurse on that floor, not just me, will tell you the same thing. That man slept like a baby clean up till his final week. Calm as still water. Now I ain't no doctor, and I can't draw you a chart explaining the science of it. I just know what I seen with my own two eyes, night after night, for 41 years. The ones who made peace before they closed their eyes, they rested different. They aged different. Some of them, like Otis, they lived different, longer than anybody expected. After my own scare, I told myself I'd fix it. I bought myself a notebook, sat down every night, and wrote out everything that was bothering me. Thought getting it down on paper would empty it out of my chest. Helped some. Not enough. I'd still lay there most nights with my mind running circles, especially around the things I'd done to other people, not just the things done to me. It was my granddaughter, of all people, barely 17 at the time, who set me straight. She caught me up late one night with my notebook, and she said, "Grandma, writing down what's wrong with everybody else ain't the same as making it right." Stopped me cold. She was right. I'd been keeping a ledger of my grudges instead of closing my accounts. So I changed what I did before bed. Not what I ate, not what I watched, what I closed out. Every night, before my head hit that pillow, I started asking myself one question. Is there anybody I need to make right with, even just inside my own heart, before I let myself rest? Some nights that meant a phone call. Some nights it meant a prayer. Some nights, sugar, it meant looking at myself in that bathroom mirror and forgiving my own self for something I'd been beating myself up over for 30 years. I'm going to tell you what that one was, since I already told you so much else. When I was 31 years old, I lost a baby, 6 months along. Folks back then didn't talk about such things, didn't even let you grieve it proper. You're young, you'll have more, they'd say, like that fixed anything. So I packed it away and never spoke of it again, not even to my husband, not for 50-some years. But I blamed myself. Quiet-like, underneath everything, I carried the notion that I'd done something wrong, worked too hard, prayed too little, something. That's a heavy thing to haul around for half a century without ever saying it out loud, even to your own self. The night I finally stood in that bathroom and said her name out loud, yes, Sugar, I knew she was a girl. Even then, and told that little baby I was sorry and that it wasn't my fault, I slept clean through the night for the first time in, I don't know how long. 8 hours, no waking, no fluttering. My husband asked me the next morning what had changed. I just said, I put something down, honey. You hear me? 30 years. I held a grudge against my own self for 3 decades and never even noticed I was doing it till I was 61 years old, with my heart fluttering in a hospital bed. I think back now to that question I asked you at the start. What are you carrying to bed with you tonight? I asked myself that very question for the first time in my own kitchen, staring at a cold cup of coffee the night before my granddaughter set me straight. And I couldn't answer it. 61 years old, and I could not name one single thing I was hauling around. That's how good we get at carrying things, Sugar. We get so practiced at it, it stops feeling like weight at all. Feels like just being a person. Feels normal. But your body keeps the score even when your mind don't. I lost my younger brother when I was 49. Heart attack, sudden, no warning, in his sleep, same as that patient I told you about. He was 53 years old, and I will tell you something I ain't told hardly a soul. My brother and I hadn't spoke kindly to each other in 9 years over a fight about our daddy's house. Pride, both of us. Pure pride. I remember the last time we did speak, at our mama's grave, of all places. He said something smart about how I always thought I knew better, and I said something back I still feel ashamed of, and we both walked to separate cars and drove home separate ways, like we hadn't just stood over the same mother's casket together not 3 months before. I told myself I'd call him on his birthday. I told myself that for 9 years running. Always next month. Always after the holidays. Always when things calmed down some. I didn't make it right before he passed. I carried that, on top of everything else, for over a decade, every single night, and didn't even know it was sitting there in my chest like a stone. So when I tell you it's costing you years, I ain't talking in metaphors. I watched it cost my brother his last decade of peace, and it like to cost me mine too, if that young doctor hadn't said what he said. Ain't about your mattress count, Sugar. Ain't about cutting caffeine or counting sheep or any of that. It's about what you let yourself carry into that dark room with you, night after night, year after year, until one day your own heart starts speaking up about it whether you're ready to listen or not. You remember that sweet old man I told you about, the one whose daughter couldn't understand how a man who did everything right still went so sudden. I think about him near every day. I never did get to ask him directly what he was carrying. But I learned, talking to his daughter at the funeral, that he'd lost a business partner and a friendship 40 years before in a deal gone sour, and the two of them never spoke again. 40 years, Sugar. of being the kind of fine, upstanding man everybody admired, and 40 years of one unfinished conversation sitting quiet underneath all of it. I don't tell you that to scare you. I tell you that because it don't matter how healthy you eat or how many steps you walk if you're lugging around 40 years of something you never put down. Here's what I want you to do, starting tonight. Before you climb into that bed, I want you to ask yourself my question. Is there anybody, living or gone, that you need to make right with, even just in your own heart? Don't wait for the perfect words. Don't wait till tomorrow, because I'm telling you, tomorrow has a way of turning into 40 years. If it's somebody living, pick up that phone, even if it's just to say, I've been thinking about you. If it's somebody you done lost, you can still talk to them, out loud or quiet, and let it go. And if the person you're maddest at is staring back at you in that bathroom mirror, you make peace with her too. That one might take the longest, but sugar, it matters most. I'm 84 years old, and I done buried a brother, a husband, more patience than I can rightly count, and a whole lot of my own pride along the way. The one thing I know for certain, after 41 years of sitting with the dying, is that nobody, not one single soul, ever laid on their deathbed worrying over their mattress or their screen time. But plenty of them laid there wishing they'd made peace just a little bit sooner. So tonight, before you turn out that light, don't ask yourself if you flossed or set your alarm. Ask my question. What are you carrying to bed with you tonight? And then, sugar, for once, put it down. If somebody you love is carrying something heavy and don't even know it, send them this. Might be the nudge they need. And I'd love to know, who's the one person you're going to make right with tonight? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone.